What is up, everyone? It is your host, David Smith, back again. I just wanted to try something a little bit different. So, we're going to do a once a week this week in sports history. And this week, with the NHL going into its expansion draft, I thought it would be fitting to have an NHL this week in sports history moment. So, without further ado, make sure again to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and let me know what you think of this week in sports history. Let's get after it. On July 19th of 2001, the former first round pick of the Atlanta Thrashers, that's right, you heard me right, the Atlanta Thrashers, Illya Kovalchuck, has been mulling over deals from other teams, and he received a 17-year, $102 million deal to re-sign with the New Jersey Devils. The length of the deal was the longest in NHL history at that time, breaking the Rick DiPietro 15-year contract. We've got some other contracts that are up there. I think Crosby and Ovechkin are both, they're at least 13-year deals. Weber's, I think, is 14, but 17 years. The crazy part about this isn't the fact that it was 17 years or 102 million, because let's be honest, guys signed for a lot of money in the NHL. That's a lot of money. Um, the fact is that it was 17 years. The NHL actually decided to null and void. They blocked the contract. They said no. Period. They said that it circumvented the NHL salary cap by allowing him to make, I believe it was $6 million. It is an interesting footnote in league history because before the salary cap, this wouldn't have been a problem. The NHL thinks that neither party in this deal except Kovalchuk expect Kovalchuk to play out the last 7 years of the contract, and therefore the money would just fall off the cap. So it was back when, if you remember early NHL days, there were a lot of folks that were putting front end loaded deals. So they would sign a relatively established player. I'm not going to say a full on aged vet, but they would sign someone to a longer term deal that's front end loaded. And the reason they do that is the later years of their career, they could either send them to the minors and bury them, or before LTIR was a thing, they would not lose a ton on the cap. Their actual cap hit would be lower. So this was seen as trying to circumvent the deal. Um, the, I mean, the deal was, it's kind of absurd. The DiPietro deal is also absurd. I looked at some of the biggest contracts in the NHL. Ovechkin, of course, had 124 million for, like I said, 13 years. Weber was 110 for 14. That was an offer sheet. Totally kind of separate from everything else. And Crosby was 104 million. So you can understand why people would want to sign guys for that kind of money, but it's still kind of ridiculous. Later on this week, we're going to have a full episode, likely breaking down the expansion draft and what's going on. Of course, we'll probably talk a little bit of Vladdy and see what the Blue Jays are up to, making their push for the trade deadline and the wild card position. Go Jays, go. If you aren't already, make sure to hit that subscribe. Check us out on audio. We're available on Apple Podcast and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for checking it out. This week in sports history. Peace.